My name is Michael Trout, and I'm the upcoming star on a Animal Planet special that airs in May. And I want to share with you an idea of mine that I've been working on for the last 5 years, which is called Foundups. But before I share the idea, I want to talk about the problem that's facing our planet. And anyone who spends any time watching documentaries or reading the news is going to be very aware that our planet is in a serious condition. Our bees are crashing, our oceans are polluted, our water is polluted, and ultimately none of the things are getting better. Everything is getting worse. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is the world in such a state? Now, what if I told you that every crisis facing our planet, barring natural disasters or pandemics, right? Natural disasters meaning like a typhoon or hurricane. And actually, when you're dealing with hurricanes, you could actually say we're the cause of them because of climate change, can be stemmed to our broken business model. You see, our business model was created some 200 years ago as part of the Industrial Revolution. And our business model simply has a premise that treats our planet as an object, as an infinite object, that's capable of any amount of abuse. You could actually even kind of zoom in on this and actually say our startup business model is endemically flawed. Because it is our startup that powers our economy, that powers growth, that powers an unsustainable, never-ending growth that treats our planet as an object. Yes, it creates jobs. It creates waste. It creates all these problems that we have. For who? For the benefit of a few stakeholders. So, how do we fix this? Well, if a problem is endemic, you cannot fix it by creating a solution within that problem. And you may ask me, well, how is the startup or how is our business model endemically flawed? Well, it's built on something called compounded annual growth rate. When you get investments from a bank or from a VC or from an angel investor or anything else, what they're looking for is a compounded annual growth rate. They're looking for something that can return a significant, usually 10 times their investment within the next 3 to 5 years. That growth basically is treating our planet as an unsustainable, or that a growth is unsustainable that treats our finite, limited resource planet as an infinite object. So, David Suzuki talks about the whole idea of exponential growth. If you Google Foundups David Suzuki, you'll see the talk that he does that I mashed up. And he basically explains how infinite growth or how exponential growth is a very dangerous thing on a finite resource planet. Now, 200 years ago, the idea of us affecting our climate, the idea of us affecting our oceans or overfishing or all these different things or cutting down all our trees was simply absurd. You could never cut down all the trees on the earth. There's too many. You can never take all the water out of wells. There's just too much. Well, the simple fact is we've proved in the last 30 years that this is not correct. So how does Foundups fit into this? Well, Foundups removes this idea of CAGR from our business model. Foundups focuses on basically encouraging and empowering people to launch solutions as a collective. You see, Foundups are not independent. Foundups operate under one entity, Foundups Corporation. And anyone who becomes a stakeholder of Foundups Corporation gets shares in Foundups Corporation. Now, right now, what we have is penny a share. So anyone who joins Foundups gets equity at a penny a share. Now, there are some limits. No one on Foundups Corporation can own more than 10,000 shares. Not even me as the founder. Once the corporation becomes a public corporation. So there's a limit to how many shares anyone can own in an open corporation like Foundups. What does this do? Well, it means we can all be equal. I don't have to own 20 million shares and you only own 1,000 shares. Ultimately, we all can own 10,000 shares. We can sell, we can buy more, but the cap is always 10,000 shares. So, how am I launching Foundups? Well, what I realized is we need hardware. And our hardware comes in the form of a house, what I call a Foundups house. It is a cross between a permaculture homestead for growing our food. It is a hacker house for launching Foundups and startups, because Foundups is a new thing. I'm not going to, dissuade people from launching startups. However, the idea is when people come in to launch their startups at a Foundup house, we say, hey, have you ever considered launching it as a Foundup? And finally, we are a fabrication lab for making the things we need. So imagine thousands of houses around the world, and anyone can launch a Foundup house, providing they basically get the license. And the license for launching a Foundup house is two things. One is it is becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. And number two, basically becoming certified. Now, anyone can become certified to launch a Foundup house simply by attending a certification program at a Foundups house. So, if you're interested in learning more about Foundups, I would encourage you to Skype me at Foundup, no S, Foundup. Think of me as Mr. Foundup. Or visiting me here in Silicon Valley at Foundups House Silicon Valley, our prototype house, the first one of its kind. And my goal is simple, to launch thousands of more Foundup houses. But I need your help. So consider going to Foundups.com, becoming a patron, becoming a subscriber, and in return, I will give you equity in my corporation, and together, let's save the planet together with Foundups.